order the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for September 22nd. You stand and rise to the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with roll call.
Jeremy Taylor.
Present.
Dick Sauerman.
Present.
John Marshall.
Here.
Dan Rohaley.
Here.
Nick Nosovich.
All right, with that, we'll do the approval of minutes. We do have a quorum tonight, so we can continue. We'll do the approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second. Do a roll call.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Dick Sauerman.
I wasn't here, so I won't vote.
John Marshall.
Yes.
Dan Rohaley. Dan, can you hear us?
His mic is.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that motion passes for the minutes. On to old business. We have petition 25-32. Is there a petitioner here that would like to speak to that petition? Sure. Before we start, just so you guys are aware, we do not have a full board. You do have the option to defer. That is your option, or we can continue with the four of us that are present. So.
We'll continue at this time.
Okay, just need you to state, actually, we'll need both of you to state your names and addresses for the record, please.
Brian Sluter, construction manager for Powers Health. Address is 10040 Spring Lake Road, St. John, Indiana.
Sean O'Brien, representing Legacy Sign Group, 7933 West Highway 6, Westville, Indiana.
We're here this evening proposing a variance for the exterior signage or the wall signage on the building for the cancer care building located at 10191 Broadway. I know the agenda shows 10201, but it's actually 10191 Broadway. We had presented last time for the monument sign and the wall sign. The monument sign was approved, and so we're back this evening seeking approval for the wall signage. The total square footage that's been provided that we're proposing is 224 square feet, which is over the 100 square feet that's been allowed. The reason that we're asking for the larger signage is because of the proportion of the building. It's a 3-story building that's 71,000 square feet, and it's about 350 feet from Broadway. So there's a large distance that viewing the sign on the building would be away from the road. When we had gone back to our files, it was commented last time that, you know, why are we making a change from what was presented at Plan Commission? And from the records that I was able to find and to discuss with the architect, the signage actually did not be, you know, was not presented at the Plan Commission in the site development plan. I think it was just said at that time to meet the ordinance. And since then, we have, you know, decided what we want to have for the name of the building, the signage on the building, and in order to make it easy for patients to really see from Broadway, this is the signage that we'd like to have. The signage is for the 2 occupants that are in the building, makes it easy for people on Broadway and on Community Court to see the building and to know where to find us. So I think that's our petition for this evening.
All right, if that's all you have, we'll move on to staff report.
Petitioner is requesting a variance from development standards to allow on-building signage to exceed 100 square feet allowed by ordinance in areas of B3 business zoning. The total proposed square footage for the signage is 223.9 square feet. One side reading Powers Health will be a total of 99 square feet and will face Broadway. One side reading Northwest Cancer Centers would be a total of 97 square feet and would face Broadway. One side reading Cancer Care Center will be a total of 27.9 square feet and will face Community Court. If approved, the square footage will be 123.9 square feet past what is allowed by city ordinance. After the presentation at last month's BZA, planning has pulled the file from site development. The original site development did not include any proposed on-building signage. No calls of support or remonstration have been received by the planning department. All notices have been properly sent out by certified mail, and the notice has been published in the newspaper. The petition has returned due to last month's approval vote being tied 2-2. Planning department does not recommend approval of petition 2532.
Move on to questions from the board. Mr. Roy Haley, I'll let you go first.
I don't have any.
Mr. Sauerman?
Well, since I wasn't here last meeting, which I apologize for, I do have some questions, both for you and then, like I mentioned before, Josh, for the city too. So I want to be clear here. So if we don't approve this variance, first of all, thank you for giving us this. This is very helpful. If we don't approve the variance, then the petitioner can go with the lower drawing here, correct? Because it meets the guidelines, or because it wasn't discussed with the site approval. They can't have any signage. How's that working?
So the code says I am allowed to administratively approve signage as long as it falls within ordinance. So they would not necessarily have to go back to site development if they were changing, but that is also something that is in the ordinance. If we would prefer them to go back to site development to get the approval of the plan commission, if they have to pull a permit, they would potentially have to go back to the plan commission.
Okay. All right. I drove down Broadway. I do it all the time, obviously, and I spent or make special attention to the different buildings that are located on Broadway, and I cannot tell you one that I viewed that didn't have some type of signage on it. So we're not saying no to signage.
Correct.
They will have some type of signage. Okay, all right, very good.
Can I just bring up a,
Oh,
Yeah.
we just need you to step up to the podium. Scott. Okay.
so yes, the signage here, I've kind of drawn it out for you. We would have to change the construction to go to the smaller signage. The letters get so small, I'm not gonna be able to do those in individual channel letters like we're asking for now. These would have to be a box sign with routed letters or something, because it's 7 inches tall for the cancer care centers under Northwest. It's just gonna be too small to physically make and to produce. Also run into problems with the health just because of the size of the strokes on these letters. So these would have to change the construction a bit to be able to get down to the square footage. One thing that was brought up before was when this building went through the original planning commission, there wasn't 2 tenants at that time. Now Northwest is taking up a portion of the building. That's why they want to have a name on there. And if we had a multi-tenant building, this side, we'd only be 20 some square feet over just for the cancer care center. That's down, you can barely see it down there, but that would be the only portion that would be over.
Actually, we did look into that as well, and it's multiple units for retail. And since this isn't a retail development, they still fall within the 100 square foot.
Oh, it does.
Yes, yeah, I did verify that afterwards.
Okay, I didn't see anything about retail in that. But... So, sure, you can read it easily on a piece of paper here, but just from my sign experience, it's going to be very hard to be able to view that from Broadway. And we're also going to be competing with Powers that's going to be next door as well, with very large signage on the building for the heart and stroke. we just don't want people to be going over there thinking it comes to the cancer center as well. Right now, it's branded in community healthcare system, but eventually it will be Powers Health. That's why we need to have the cancer care center facing as they're coming in, is that Community Drive? Community court there, to grab their attention to that main entrance door.
Okay. Is there some type of rule regarding distance from a road, the building being a distance from the road and the size of the
Heights of letters,
font?
yeah, height of letter, they do have different charts. If you found two of them that were the same, I'd be surprised. It's just kind of, there are things out there. I don't know what they are, just because, like I said, some charts say that, a 6-inch letter, it can be read from 50 feet. Some say it can be read from 65 feet. It just depends on which chart you look at. But there's charts that are available online for sure.
I mean, to be honest, if I'm driving down Broadway going 45, which I believe is the speed limit there, and if I were to look at this building with the bottom signage here, with the smaller height, I wouldn't be able to see that, I don't think, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
And so Josh, I have another question regarding the 100 square feet maximum. So first of all, how long has that been the ordinance, and how do we arrive at that? Because I agree with what was stated in the minutes and what they're saying here, that I think it should be proportional to I'll call it the face of the building as it appears to the roadway. So obviously this is a large building, 3 stories. How many square feet of face do you have here?
71, of fascia? That's a good
The
question.
entire face here from the north to the south, and then given the height.
I know it's
How much is that?
52 feet tall.
It's gonna be about 4,500 square feet, because it's 45 feet tall and about 120 feet long, so a little over 4,500 square feet on that face. And you're only giving us 100 square feet of it.
Well, I'm not suggesting we change ordinance here. I am suggesting, though, that I'm gonna make my decision based on what I just outlined
So
from a proportion standpoint.
I cannot attest as to how those numbers were determined, as that ordinance was passed and approved in 2021 by our city council. When it comes to distance from the road, we have our setbacks, and the response we've always had is if you choose to put your building further back, it means your hardship of saying the building is further back from the road is now a self-created hardship, which means it's not eligible to be approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals. So if you were to go a further distance back, I mean, they could have theoretically put their building closer to Broadway, put the parking on the east side, then having 100-foot of building signage wouldn't have been an issue. They would have needed a variance. But because the developer at the time chose to put the building further back away from Broadway and is now requesting a variance due to that choice, it means it's a self-created hardship.
So is that a discussion that takes place with, in this case, a petitioner prior to site development? I mean, what's expected? I haven't been to a site development meeting, but what's expected of the
Come, they're a
petitioner?
lot of fun.
I should, huh?
So they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. But given what you just said, did they have to bring a plan here that showed parking in the front versus in the back? Or do you give them direction for them, telling them that, hey, if you want signage on the building, you should have the parking in the back so you don't run into this whole size of the lettering for your marketing?
So developers will bring in their plans. We can give feedback, but at the end of the day, what we're going by is the code. Code does not specifically state whether the parking should be in the front or in the rear. Code does not state. Basically, what we're getting at when it comes to where the building is located is the building, any flat work, any type of structure like signage, not in the setbacks. That's what we're focused on. So we have our codes and ordinances that they have to work within. They have copies of those. They are readily available online. If they choose to then try to do something outside of what is allowed, that's when they come to this board. Now, I can't say over the past couple of years, we have very much been tightening up when plans come in for site development. So we have one under review right now, that the reason it is not in front of the plan commission is we do not have the sign package that is required by ordinance. So it's just been a matter of turnover in the department and making sure things get tightened up as we move forward.
Can
I
I
just don't like the idea, just one more comment, that we're asking a developer to expend money on putting together some type of architecture where the building will be based before coming to site development, and then finding out that, hey, you'd be better off if you're going to be looking at a signage in the building to have the parking in the back versus the front. Anyway, that's my comment.
Can I speak to one aspect of all that, just to kind of maybe enlighten a little bit? The reason the building is set where it's at and the layout that it's at is that it's very similar to the rehabilitation center just to the south of it. So the setback, the faces of the building are approximately the same distance from Broadway. The parking is on the west side, just like the stroke and rehab center. The cancer building has the parking right along Broadway. And so it's really been given more of a campus feel, having both buildings, you know, in the same plane, looking somewhat similar. They're obviously different because this has more glass and more metal panels, but it's really given more of the same look. And so being that distance away and having approximately the same height signage as the stroke and rehab, we're really trying to go for a campus look here to keep it consistent. So that's, you know, a factor too that's coming into why we're asking for the signage that we have, is to give that campus feel that's consistent and gives a, you know, a pleasing look as people enter, you know, off a community court to see both buildings and the campus area that we're developing there.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question and then I'll give it over. You mentioned there's two separate corporations, building next door and then this one, but they're both part of Powers. So, and you need to have this listed as Northwest because that's the corporate name for this medical center versus, what's the other one?
So in this building, we will have Powers Health on the first floor and Northwest Cancer Centers will be on the second floor. So there's really two entities in the building. And so both those entities would like to have their name on the exterior face of the building because people are going to two different places for different services. The first floor is a lot of diagnostic and a lot of treatment. The second floor is an infusion center with some diagnostic and the infusion treatment area. So it's two entities in the same building wanting to have their names on the outside so people can understand where they're going and find their way easier and know, you know, what's inside the building.
Thank you.
Mr. Marshall? Well, I agree with what Mr. Sarman stated. I just want to, I've looked at a lot of signs in the last month. This has been on my mind, this sign thing. And I agree that we need to, I'm even in favor of maybe changing the sign ordinance to be more in proportion with the size of the building. If you were a one-story little, you were in a 4-unit commercial building and you wanted to put, you know, 6-foot high letters over the top that says cold beer or something because you're a liquor store, I would say no, it's not appropriate. But on this building being as big as it is, I think the size of your sign is appropriate, and I think we need to, you know, we could amend our ordinances because it's like Mr. Sarman said, where'd the 100-foot come from? I mean, that was a good question. I didn't think of that till you said it, but where did it come from? I mean, so we have somebody puts up a 3-story building or a 5-story building or, you know, a 150,000 square foot warehouse, you know, we give them 100 square foot of sign, basically is what the ordinance says, and I don't think that's we're being fair to the petitioner. So I think these signs are appropriate for the size of the building. I think we need to look at our sign ordinance and come up with some kind of a, like we do with parking spots. It's so many square feet in the building and it's got to have so many parking spots, so many handicap spots. That's how we do that. We don't put 100 parking spots in front of McDonald's because they don't need 100 parking spots. Walmart, if we build Walmart.
And that is definitely something we can look into.
So, you know, I think, I love this. So,
Yes.
this is excellent. So to show what it should be, you know, what you want, what it should, or what you're trying to do, or what it should be, what the ordinance allows. So I think it's a fair request. I think the size of the building doesn't make it look gaudy. I think it fits the size of the building. And so I'm in favor of this petition. And I was one of the guys that gave you the hardest time at the last meeting. So I've thought about it, and I don't think your request is unreasonable. That's all I have.
As far as me, I guess we've discovered that this bottom rendering isn't even allowed, right? I don't know the exact dimensions of it, but that wouldn't even be allowed, right? Because that's too much time for the 100 square foot.
All these equal up to 100 square feet.
Oh, they do together. Okay, so it would.
But it's
Yeah,
very
that
hard to
was-
see.
Exactly. I don't think that what you're asking is out of proportion. I think that you do have the hardship here, and with that being said, if any of the board has any other questions? We did have a public hearing in our last meeting. However, we'll open up a public hearing tonight for this as well. So if there's any members of the public that would like to speak, now is a great time to do that. Anybody online?
No, sir.
Nobody's online. Give anybody another second chance. I don't see anybody here. We'll close the public meeting or the public hearing at this time. And I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve 2532 as presented.
Mr. Vice President, if I could, Mr. Sauerman, would you like to add the criteria due to the fact that what I'm hearing is due to the fact of the size of the building compared to the
Yeah,
size of the allowed sign?
let's put in the proportional verbiage, that given the size of the building, along with the distance from the road, that we feel that from a proportional standpoint, the signage should be allowed to be larger.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Sauerman, a second by Mr. Marshall. Any additional discussion? If not, call the roll.
Dick Sauerman,
Yes.
John Marshall,
Yes.
Dan Rohaley,
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you, Joey.
Thank you very much.
And if you do decide you want to entertain changing the code anytime, I would offer my services. I've seen every
Well,
code
I
under
think
the
it's
sun.
something that we should do. I haven't thought of it before, but it's like Mr. Sarman said, where did we get this number from? Where did that come from?
Predates.
We debated that when we rewrote this whole thing in 21. We spent 2 meetings talking about the size.
I don't know.
So,
What square foot, you know, I don't feel like, I don't know, I missed it. I can say that. We had gone with 100 foot for a long time and seemed to be working.
Yeah, I mean, on a very small building, 100 foot is going to be too big.
Right.
On a very big building, but there, I've seen every which way they'll do the entire square footage of fascia and do a percentage like 10%. They'll do it by the linear frontage of a building times a certain number. There's all kinds of different ways I've seen other codes, and I have a lot of resources to give you guys information, and you make your choice.
I think it's something that we should look into. I think John should.
I agree.
should
that was the argument I had in 21. The one listed then.
Yeah, please feel free to shoot me an email so we can contact, and I will gladly work with you, see what you got, and see what direction our council is willing to accept changes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you.
All right, that concludes old business. Moving on to new business. There's no new business. Miscellaneous. Anybody have anything? If not, entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.